One of my alarms went off. So I wasn't even walking the path of the straight and narrow or trying to. I was a heathen, a backslider, not trying to do what was right by any means. Um, so when I got married, I didn't think twice about it. But now that I'm trying to get my ducks in a row and I'm trying to be a better person and a better Christian and walk the path of the straight and narrow, um, that thought is very prevalent in my mind. Do not yoke yourself to a non-believer. So I'm cautious, so we say. But I was dead set against getting married in the first place. Um, Again, after my first marriage, um, and after experiencing all of the demons that I've experienced out there in the world as far as women go after my marriage, all of the Jezebels and the people like the diva and Kate. Oh yeah, yeah. We'll talk about Kate in a minute. I had resigned myself to never getting married again. But if I want to walk the path of the straight and narrow, um, God expects me to be married before I knock boots. That's that's in the Bible. That's a prerequisite. You can only knock boots with your wife. And she's not your wife by man's laws. Commonwealth marriage, that doesn't qualify. Just because you've been dating somebody for 20 some years doesn't mean you're automatically married due to tenure. No, it's an actual marriage and union uh, in front of God, in the presence of God and whatnot. So that's the only way in God's eyes that you can fornicate. That's the wrong word. Fornicating is another fancy word for sin. Um, that you can copulate with your partner. Otherwise, you're sinning. You're fornicating. Uh, so if I ever want to knock boots again, I have to get married. Well, along comes a candidate, a couple of candidates. One was Mia, but she just doesn't measure up. But Scrunchy does. And um, the only the only thing stopping the process is the fact that she's not a born again believer, white lighter. But she's trying. She's wanting to learn. She's curious about the situation. She's going to church every Sunday. Even though the pastor I'm dealing with is not teaching us a bloody red thing. My guys on YouTube are teaching me far more than my pastor is, that's for sure. And he's not helping her out. She's curious. She wants to know the truth, the way, and the life, I believe. She doesn't want to burn like a pork roast at the end of days, which is coming really fast. Um, It'll happen in my lifetime. I'm pretty certain of it. Um, she's curious. That's a start. Most people aren't curious. They're happy to live in the here and now and participate in the worldly treasures and pleasures, and it's fleeting. Uh, everlasting life is eternal. That's forever. That's infinite time. So I'm starting to think a lot more about that subject than I am about the here and now. But if I'm going to stay in God's good graces and He's going to eventually, on the day of judgment, I'm going to stand in front of Him totally scared shitless. I want Him to look at me and say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." I want a that-a-boy from Jesus. Yeah. So that's my choice, to follow the rules. And I'm trying to do it. And one of those rules is, enter ye not into a union with a non-believer. Unless you have a reasonable chance, a very good probable reasonable chance of bringing them over to the white side. Scrunchy qualifies. You know? But that question floored me. And I still don't have an answer. Yeah. How can I help you? What do you need from me? I want to be a good wife. Dang, man. Very impressive. Speaking of husband and wife, Kate and Rob. All right, so Rob once again has blown up my phone, calling me multiple times a day, lamenting about his problem, involving me in the battle, running ideas by me on stuff to say to her to combat her statements to him. You know, what do you think? Kate said this. I'm going to say this in return. What do you think? Getting advice and suggestions and whatnot. You've already heard my AST about the situation. I think she's using them. Yep. Her red line in the sand right now is she's not losing that house. That material possession is more important to her than her marriage. Yep. She has finally achieved a status symbol, an object that makes her look like she has her shit together, in the form of that house. $400 and some thousand house. Her whole life, she basically lived in poverty and was a broke loser and was relying on others for her sustenance. She has medical issues, fibromyalgia, a bad back because she's got a massive rack and she's carrying all that weight around all the time. Things like this. And she tried to apply for disability years ago and was denied. This is why I tell freeloaders and bottom feeders like the diva who are trying to live on Easy Street for the rest of their days because they're too lazy and they don't want to work anymore, and they're trying to file for disability, that they're not going to get it. Their problems are trivial. Their medical ailments are trivial. They're just straight up lazy and they don't want to work anymore. They want to have easy life. Kate, her situation is legit. And it's pretty intense. And she tried to apply for disability so she could live for free, basically. And she was denied. It's not easy to get disability. Yeah. the powers that be that hand that stuff out are very attuned to fraud and freeloaders and bottom feeders that are just looking for an easy way out of life's responsibilities. They're paying attention to that. Thank goodness. So all the lazy people that just don't want to work and want handouts, they want to live in a world of Santa Claus. It's not so easy for that to happen for them. So the diva thinks she's going to get it. She's not. But Kate actually deserved it because fibromyalgia, look it up, that's pretty debilitating. And she has other issues as well. So her whole life, she was a broke loser, poor. And she was relying, this is how she became a user. She was relying on men to help her in exchange for sex. Legalized prostitution. So she would enter into a relationship with somebody, give them nookie, and in return they would do things for her to help her survive. Whether it was letting her move in with them, where she would gradually try to take over, help fix her car, donate money for fixing the car, or I was there. I did it. I participated. Well, now that she's gotten this house with the help of Rob and her daughter, it's her most prized possession. It's given her status and an image. She's not gonna. She says she's not gonna lose it. Well, she is. If she executes Rob, she can't keep that house. She can't afford it. And I've talked about all the things pertaining to that. So anyway, Rob, he threw me under the bus. He was a Judas Iscariot. He was a Peter. Well, he wasn't really a Peter because all Peter did was deny Jesus 3 times. Judas actually betrayed him and handed him to the wolves. Rob did that to me, threw me under the bus, and told Kate stuff that I was saying about Kate. He apologized for that. Promised me he'll never do it again. But here's what's interesting. Rob got hit with a bombshell last night. He found out Kate's a liar. During the course of conversation, it was revealed by me that Kate and I, I'm showing my fat belly here, Kate and I were in a knock boots relationship. 2 times. Rob did not know this. Kate lied to him and told him. Kate tried to make herself look pious and upstanding and holy. Kate told Rob that I wanted a relationship with her. She denied me because I was married, and she couldn't be with me because I was a smoker. Oh, it was the total opposite. Kate and I were seeing each other for quite a while. Every time we got together, we had quickies and we were knocking boots. It was a situationship. I was the secret boy toy. I was the secret friend with benefits. She had no problem knocking boots with a married guy. As a matter of fact, she was my first transgression against my wife, and I was feeling guilty about it, so I was resisting. when we'd be hanging out and the situation would get hot and heavy or whatever, I was not making any moves. I was not the one forcing the situation or initiating the situation. I was holding back. I'm like, She's the one that literally grabbed my hand, dragged me into the bedroom, and basically raped me. Yeah, she's freaky strong. I didn't have much of a choice. And then after that, it was just nonstop. Rob didn't know this. What Kate told Rob was, oh, I couldn't be with him. He was married. And I was not going to be the side piece. And he's a smoker, and I'm allergic to smoke. So I told Rob the truth. He's like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. So now I got trust issues on top of everything else. I'm like, dude, she lied to you, man. All she told me is you guys were good friends, but she couldn't be with you because you were married and you were a smoker. I go, dude, we were with each other 3 to 4 times a week. Yeah, I was a truck driver and I drove through her town, and I would always take my lunch breaks and stop over for conjugal visits. It was pretty much walk in the door, look at each other, clothes are off, and we're knocking boots because we only had 30 minutes. She took 4 days. I took vacation. She took 4 days and went up to my camp with me and spent all 4 days up at camp. Constant knocking boots, fishing, eating, knocking boots. So she straight up lied to him. And now he knows this. And I said, dude, keep it to yourself. You know how hard that is to do? I don't expect him to honor that request. The next time they get into a heated battle, you know how hard it would be if you're arguing with your wife and it's heated and shit's being said, to not try to win the battle by saying, oh, I know you're a liar. You were banging Ken for years and you told me you never slept with him. That's going to be hard to hold those cards close to your vest. Scrunchy doesn't think he'll do it. She thinks he'll once again throw me under the bus. But here's the thing. If he does throw me under the bus, and Kate comes at me, all I got to tell Kate is, why didn't you tell him the truth? You run around the world professing, I don't lie. I don't play games. I don't lie. I'm an honest person. You know the truth very well. Why didn't you tell him the truth? Why did you lie to your husband? So I'm not too worried about it. She can't attack me or punish me. Well, number one, I'm protected by God, and she's a witch, so if she tries to throw a curse at me, it's not going to work. But because she's a witch, and she knows how to cast spells and curses and hurt people. She's got demonic powers that way. She can't hurt me with that. I'm protected by the Holy Spirit. But all I got to say is, you profess to tell the truth and not be a liar or a game player. Why didn't you tell Rob that we were in a situationship for a couple of years, and then you even came crawling back and tried to get into another situationship with me again while you were talking to Rob behind my back on your phone at the same time? Oh yeah, he found out about that. So if he does spill the beans, I'm not worried at all. But I kind of told him, I said, dude, Don't be a Judas Iscariot again. And he promised me he wouldn't. But that is a big promise to keep. When you have that knowledge that your wife lied to you about her past life and therefore could be lying to you now, you know how hard that is to not use as a weapon during an argument to win that argument? I wouldn't blame him if he caved, but I made him promise that he wouldn't. You know, brotherhood. So we're tight. He's calling all the time again, giving me the blow-by-blows on what's going on. She's still playing the game. She has not changed her relationship status back to married. She's still pressuring him to do the refinance on the house because she thinks that it's going to help her keep the house in the end when she finally does get rid of him. It's a shit show. And it's over something trivial. He didn't cheat on her. He didn't physically abuse her. He hasn't done any egregious act that justifies this sort of behavior. It's straight up a case of Kate is not the tough chick she claims she is. She's a thin-skinned snowflake pussy, basically, for lack of a better term. But she wants everybody to think she's tough. So yeah, we're talking. He got a hold of me like 3 times yesterday. He thinks he drove through a tornado in Indiana yesterday. There was a truck in front of him that he was going alongside a field, and he said there was swirling debris. I said, was it a dust devil maybe, or something like that? But I said, were you in a thunderstorm? He says, no, but the sky was really black. I'm like, well, then that ain't a dust devil. That's probably a twister. And it lifted the truck in front of him, the trailer. It lifted the rear wheels off the ground. And it was off on his right side. And then later, yesterday, he had, what did he say, 43,000 pounds in his trailer. And he got hit by a gust of wind. Broadside, and when he looked in his mirror real quick, he could see the headlights of the car behind him under his wheels of his trailer. So that means the trailer lifted up like that. So that made him fill his pants. Yep, that was a oh crap, I need a spoon moment. So yeah, the interesting life of a truck driver. But yeah, he's jabberjawing 1,000 miles an hour, and of course it's all about him. So I'm trying to interject into the conversation little things about Scrunchy and I, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." So this is what I'm thinking about typing to her. It's all about the battle. So what I advised him, here's the oxymoron and the double standard. Kate tells me, when I talked to her last, I'm getting tired of him always talking about this situation. He's smothering me and being overbearing. All he wants to do is talk about this problem that we're having. And so I tell that to Rob. And Rob turns it off. He goes, well, I can turn it off. He dials it back. And he's talking about this and that. And he's like, oh, talking about what he's going to make for dinner when he comes home off the road this weekend. And blah, blah, blah. And Kate jumped his ass for not focusing on the problem. And talking about their problem. She also penalized him for buying her a gift, a nice gesture, which is something he apparently has done the whole 6 years he's been with her. Off and on, he's bought her some flowers, or he's gone and got her some candy she liked, or he saw something out and about and he knew she'd like it, so he got it for her. And he would come home with these little gestures. I said, how often does she do that for you? Not too often. I think every now and then she does something, but I do it way more than she does. Kind of lopsided there, right? I mean, look at Scrunch. Scrunch got me these lanterns. She went to a craft show. She saw these. She thought of me, and she bought them. That's how it's done. But the double standard of Kate doesn't want him to smother her with their problem, but then she chastises him for not talking about the problem. Just talking about, oh yeah, I want to do this to the truck, or oh yeah, I want to do this to the shop, or just he's trying to go back to the guy he was before this all happened, right? And she has a problem with that. Wow. I still think she's going to use him to get the refinance on the house so their payment drops. And then I think she's going to execute him. She's going to decide, oh, I can't live with this. Every time I look at you, all I see is a screaming howler monkey that throws bananas at me. I can't live like that. You got to go. And she's going to think, this is purely AST, that's going to allow her, oh boy, one of my customers. Hopefully you can get the parts soon and I can be done with problems with this piece of crap. It's got an LG refrigerator. I think she thinks that she's going to use him to refinance the house at a lower rate, and then that will allow her to keep the house when they separate. Damn it, man. Another 5 stops today. Yesterday was an easy day. One of them dropped off. So I had 3 calls. And they were all pretty much successful. So I got home early, and I had grand intentions to do projects, and I found myself not doing projects. I found myself talking to Rob, and oh jeez, a return trip. Oh, okay, I know this one. Okay. Yep, I'm familiar with that. And I found myself talking to Rob, helping him out. Oh, jeez. So I was going to do some projects, and I finally resolved myself to, yes, I did upload a pic, you. I even looked up the part for you. These people that always try to make somebody that's perfect, doing things perfectly, try to make them look bad. They never gave me my filter. Oh my God, people. I looked up the part numbers. The self-proclaimed best tech in the company is making executive decisions pertaining to my calls, whether I need a part or not. I am